Happy to be here. I drove down this morning after a business meeting in Ogden. As I was coming down, of course, the air is clear and beautiful. Look out over the valley, and you know, but we know that these emissions are coming, and we know that 50% of our emission problems, of course, come from vehicles. And so, but it's not uncommon to get emails something like this: Representative Handy, what are you going to do about our dirty air? Well, I got thinking about that. Short of not being able to move the mountains, there are things that you can do that is the proper role of government. So since the early 90s, the state of Utah has employed modest incentives for alternative fuel vehicles, tax incentives. So I, as Brad mentioned just a minute ago, and others, I've worked on some things with natural gas to try to accelerate that adoption, and we heard a great remarks here about electric vehicles. Zero emissions, no emissions. Well, the tax credit for electric vehicles is set to expire here on December 31st. So if you're going to go out and buy one this year, go buy it. You know, you've got a few weeks to do that.
Streetcars. And actually, Salt Lake City was among the first, again, in the world to do this. And in 1889, Salt Lake City had the first streetcar. And actually, in 1915, Utah Light and Traction merged to create Utah Power and Light, so our predecessor. So we're very proud of our history in electric transportation. And it's just interesting, what helped bring our organization about was to address with pollution in cities, to deal, and electric transportation was a way to deal with that. Here we are now, 100 years later, we're kind of faced with a similar conundrum of pollution in cities, and electric transportation is a potential solution to help deal with that.
Salt Lake City has a history of being aggressive and innovative when it comes to implementing solutions for on-road transportation. We have been integrating CNG, hybrid, and all-electric vehicles into our government fleet for many years. As of last month, the city had over 115 hybrids, over a dozen all-electric vehicles, many of them in our shared fleet pools used by employees. Salt Lake City also currently operates 24 CNG vehicles, including the haulers that pick up trash and recycling from our residents. When it comes to our equipment fleet, we've also prioritized electrifying landscape maintenance equipment by investing in all-electric leaf blowers, trimmers, and other equipment to replace much higher polluting two-cycle options. This past July, Salt Lake City Mayor Biskupski and our City Council signed a joint resolution committing to reducing both internal and community-level carbon emissions 80%.
We see that expansion occurring more on the midstream market and also the heavy-duty market. Individuals, you know, like a Geneva Rock and Waste Management, are using it every day to bring cement and refuge haulers into the marketplace using natural gas, saving them thousands of dollars, but also, as I mentioned, an opportunity to clean the air and to provide a benefit to the residents of the state of Utah. And we appreciate their willingness to do that. Their efforts, if you would, have reduced not only the carbon monoxide, but NOx and other things that provide our air to be clean.
Whereas, due to the fact that Utah's population is expected to nearly double by 2050, it is important we diversify transportation fuels and build transportation infrastructure and a fleet of alternative fuel vehicles in order to reduce pollution and improve air quality, as well as to save energy and natural resources. Whereas the state of Utah, in conjunction with its ongoing partnership with private enterprises and residents, has built a compressed natural gas and liquefied natural gas I-15 corridor spanning from St. George to the Idaho border throughout the state. Whereas the state of Utah, in conjunction with its ongoing partnership with private enterprises and residences, is planning and building an electric charging I-15 corridor expanding from St. George to the Idaho borders and up to neighboring national parks, along with the expansion of propane, biodiesel, and ethanol throughout the state. Whereas replacing targeted conventional vehicles with alternative fuel vehicles is a viable option for companies and individuals because manufacturers currently offer more than 150 models and engine families of alternative fuel vehicles for sale, including hybrid, propane, battery electric, compressed natural gas, liquefied natural gas, clean biodiesel, and ethanol. Whereas we encourage more Utah residents and businesses to apply for appropriate tax credits, rebates, and incentive programs for switching to an alternative fuel vehicle. And whereas education about alternative fuel vehicles can raise public awareness, influence consumer choice, and encourage further development of transportation choices. Now, therefore, I, Gary R. Herbert, Governor of the State of Utah, do hereby declare November 2016 as Alternative Fuel Vehicle Awareness Month. So